Hi there, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Rain Your Brain, where I share with you my insights into anxiety and depression and just mental health in general. A quick disclaimer, I'm not a licensed physician or a therapist. I'm just a regular old human being that has like decades of experience with just issues with mental health and anxiety and depression. So I'm just sharing my insight and my experience in hopes that maybe it'll help somebody else out there. That said, let's get started. Today I'm going to talk about the inner child and what that is, how to recognize it, and how to better understand it to allow you to live a better life. And basically, your inner child is your true self that you're born, you're born this with your true self, you're authentic, and over time you relinquish some of that authenticity to fit into your environment. I'm going to go from my experience because that's what I understand. When I was little, growing up, I was a very inquisitive child, very creative, cynical. I wanted to know why we had to do things a certain way. Why did we believe this? Is this really true? Do we really have to do that? And the environment that I was in was pretty rigid, pretty religious. Things were pretty much black and white, right or wrong. And so over time, I began to kind of let go of some of my true self because I didn't want to lose the love of my parents. And that's pretty much a basic survival instinct of any human being. We, as children, will adapt so that we don't lose the love of our caregiver, because that's a biological need to bond with at least one caregiver. And so we make adaptations so we don't lose that love. And in my case, over time, I became kind of a quiet rebel. I would be a certain way within the family unit, and then when I was away on my own, I would be my true self. And as I got older, and I left home, went to college, it was very liberating because I felt like I could really be my true self. But I also dealt with a lot of kind of guilt and shame, because although I was doing what I wanted to do and being my true self, I didn't, there was part of me that was saying, maybe you're not a good person for doing this. This might mean, you went out last night and you got tanked, and that's something that we don't do. And even though I did do it a few times, but that kind of shame, it kind of bubbles up, and you have those two sides of yourself that are fighting. Because I think that our inner child wants that unconditional love, wants to be loved regardless of whether they're making A's or F's, regardless of if they're always making the right decision or not. And I don't think that most of us get that. I think that we all get our true selves we all get messed up in childhood. And I think that as adults, we all mess up our kids in some way, shape, or form. I mean, it just happens, because unless you have a caregiver or parent that's stable all the time, always in a good mood, and accepting of everything, you're going to have issues arise that are going to kind of mess you up in how you react to stuff and how you deal with stuff. So for me, as I became an adult, that kind of feeling of possibly being judged or maybe not doing the right thing really manifested in anxiety when it came to particularly interpersonal relationships, because growing up in an environment where it's just right or wrong, black and white, and then you go into life and you realize that it's really a continuum of gray. I mean, life is gray. It's not just black and white. And it was hard to kind of not overreact in situations, and I would not want to be controlled because I didn't want to feel that guilt, and so I had a tendency to run away or escape, and I kind of carried that through my adulthood after college. It wasn't really until my daughter was born that I really kind of started doing some reflection on myself, and where does this anxiety and depression come from? And yeah, I think some of it is genetic. I think that some people are born more sensitive, and they're just more reactive to stress in an environment. And I decided that I really, really wanted to know, what were some of these causes of anxiety. And when I started reflecting on my reactions, when I got really anxious or really mad, or I felt like somebody was trying to control me and I just wanted to leave the situation, when I started to think about it, I realized that I was kind of living back as that little kid, afraid of being judged. And I had to remind myself that you're not that little kid anymore. You're not in that environment. You're not in that situation. You can state your opinion. You can do what you want to do. You don't have to feel guilty about it. And so there's been kind of a better acceptance within me of my true self. And it's just one of those hard things, because I think as adults we don't really want to go back and relive like the bad parts of our childhood. I mean, who does? But unless you kind of give some attention to that inner voice that says, hey, that really sucked, I'm upset about that, then you continue to kind of cover it up and push it down. And once you kind of give it that voice and you listen to it and you think, okay, yeah, that did suck. That was hard to go through, but that was then, this is now, I'm in a different space. And I really think that once we listen to that voice, that inner child, once you give it a little bit of attention and just acceptance, then it's much easier to live to your full potential and just be happier in general. So I just encourage you to, next time you get really upset, anxious, depressed, or angry about something, or angry with somebody, try to, before reacting, just reflect a little bit on where that's coming from, because it very well could be a reaction to something that you don't really need to react that strongly now, because you're in a different time and a different space. And it's empowering, and it gives you just a better sense of control of your life when you have that reflection. So that's it for today. I think I covered everything I wanted to say. I'm still new at this, so I'm learning as I go. If you liked this content, hit the subscribe button. Why not? I think next time I'm going to be talking about projection, which is a fascinating topic, so you're not going to want to miss that. Thanks again for watching. See you next time.